Oh, and a hearty good morning to you on the JP Peterson Show. Welcome in. We are in our hurricane preparedness mode here as I'm doing the show from home. Nick Geddes is doing the show from home this morning as our St. Pete normal studio is evacuating. Everybody is evacuating from Pinellas County. Obviously, Hurricane Ian is bearing down on the Tampa Bay area. It's going to have a huge effect on all sporting events. So we'll take you through some of the machinations of what's going on for sporting events. And we'll also talk some Buccaneers with TJ Rives, who's going to join us at 10:15, and Scott Reynolds at 10:30. Two veteran Hurricane / Buccaneer reporters. So we're going to have a lot of experience on this show. Literally decades of Bucs and Hurricane experience on the show. So what more could you want in terms of information, right? Nick Geddes joining me this morning from outsider.com. Good morning to you, sir. How are you? You ready? You hunkered down?
Yeah, I'm getting ready over here in Fish Shock. I'm hoping I'm inland enough over here. Right now, I'm fighting the current at the moment, and that's the lawnmowers going outside. So, they've been doing this all morning, and right as we start the show, of course, they're right on my strip here.
Yeah,
so,
of course.
We're fighting that right now, but we're here though. We're live.
Yeah, well, me and Tally are hanging out. I would have loved to done this from the roof at Altice upstairs because the view over the bay and the ominous clouds that are moving in is just awesome. And there's a very weird part of me that would love to kind of hang out for the storm up there and watch it come in. But I'm a little bit smarter than that. I'm fascinated by weather. I'm one of those freaks that would chase storms and do all that stupid stuff because I've lived in Florida long enough that I'm not really I don't have a whole lot of hurricane anxiety. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. But this one, I will say, yeah, I've seen a lot of storms in my day and a lot of projections, and we know what happens normally. But this one seems like it's going to be very, very serious to the Tampa Bay area. This has all the ingredients of pushing the water up the bay into downtown Tampa, where I am, and it's going to leave a lot of damage, obviously. And power, I think we're going to have issues with power for a long, long time. My old house on Davis Island, I don't think it's going to fare very well. Obviously, Brady, that's where Brady lives. A lot of, there's more than a few players that will be affected by this in terms of their living situation. The Buccaneers have already relocated to the Miami Dolphins facility. They're headed there today to get their practice in. Whether the game happens on Sunday, I think really is going to revolve around the power outages in the area and this, what kind of civil service we can get back in the area. If there's large spread power outages because of flooding, there may be a problem with the game. But the fact that it's Sunday night, so you got some extra time, it all depends on how long Ian hovers over Tampa Bay, because then that's just going to be more and more infrastructure destruction. I'm worried about the bridges. We got all those barges out there that are helping build the new lanes on the Howard Franklin. Those, will they stay moored? Because they're out there floating between the Courtney Campbell and the Howard Franklin. If those things break loose, who knows? And if one of those bridges go down or get damaged in any way, that's going to be like worst case scenario. So I think this one's going to have to be sit and wait and see what happens.
Yeah, I've been tuned into. We have some great meteorologists in this area. Again,
we really do.
We really do, and they've been on top of this. Paul Delegato, Dennis Phillips, whoever you listen to, they've been great. I mean, I like you. It's like I don't want these hurricanes to come, but when they come, it's like I can't stop watching the coverage of it for whatever reason. Yeah. Like last night, I didn't even want to watch the Monday night game. I was like, I'd rather just watch. I mean, I had no reason to. The offense is again, but I'd rather. The hurricane coverage to me was more entertaining than the game.
Well, I mean, to me though, the pre-coverage is a little much. I gotta wonder. I'm just trying to find out where it's going to hit, how it's going to hit, and I tend to draw a lot of my own conclusions because obviously everybody on television is going to be super hyped about it. They're going to overhype everything just because they want people to take it seriously. I get it. If you've lived in Florida for any amount of time, to kind of moderate some of those comments. Not that they're doing anything wrong. It's just that that's their job. They've got to warn people and be on the hyper side of it because, the worst thing you can do is kind of, soft play it and something big happened and people aren't prepared. So I get it. I've worked in newsrooms all my life. I know how it works. Heck, when one of my Channel 8 days, they used to send me over to the Hillsborough County Emergency Management place, and I would be doing live shots from there. So I get it. So I think it's also prudent to use a little bit of your own judgment as well, and we'll see what happens. Now, you were just telling me USF has already rescheduled their game to play down at FAU.
Yeah, they're going to play in FAU. They were originally scheduled to play here in Tampa on Saturday against East Carolina, but yes, that will be in Boca now.
Yeah, and the Rays are on the road, which is a good thing. They're up in Cleveland. Tonight, Corey Kluber is going to start against Shane Bieber. First time Kluber has pitched as a visitor at Cleveland, so that's interesting. We need a great start from him. But as you were mentioning pre-show, the Indians have their aces lined up. This could be a very, very tough week for the Rays to score runs because we know what happens when they face good pitching. Not much happens at all.
Yeah, Bieber going tonight, Tristan McKenzie the day after, Cal Contrail the day after that. That's their 1, 2, 3. And if you get in a situation where you're playing the Indians in the wild card round or whatever, that's who you're going to see. So hopefully this might be a preview to what we see. And, of course, Tyler Glasnow, the return. Yep. The return tomorrow night.
So the Rays are 2 games behind the Blue Jays, right? So they need to – and then they've got a series with Toronto next, right? Yeah, they have Toronto and then Boston.
Houston.
Yeah, Houston. Are they done with Toronto?
I think they're done
with
Toronto.
Right. They're done. Yeah, that's right. They're done with
Houston
Toronto.
And then Boston.
Yeah, my bad. And they won the season series with Toronto. So they have the tiebreaker with them. So if they can make up those 2 games on Toronto – and I haven't seen who's Toronto playing. I think they got the Yankees, or they just played the Yankees.
No, Toronto was out of town. The Yankees were playing somebody. Let me see here.
So yeah, who does Toronto have left?
Toronto's got they got 3 with New York.
That's what I thought.
They beat New York last night, and then they got Boston, and then they got Baltimore.
Yeah. So all right, Boston, Baltimore. That's although Baltimore, they're still in it. At least they still think. Hopefully, they'll still be playing for something.
And then the Rays also tied with Seattle, right? And Seattle's got a nice schedule here. It's all at home. It's Texas, Oakland, and Detroit.
Oh wow! So I would say, Seattle's probably got how many? Seattle's 2 behind Toronto as well, right?
Yeah, we're tied with Seattle.
Yeah, so. Interesting. So Seattle's probably got the easiest pathway to the number 1 wild card, while the Rays have the toughest pathway to the number 1 wild card. So my guess is at this point it's going to be the Rays in the 3rd wild card spot, taking on the Guardians again. So they'll finish these 9 road games, and then they'll go to Cleveland for a 3-game wild card series. Probably against these same pitchers.
I don't hate it, though. I don't hate it. I don't care. You could do that all you want, but I don't care where you play the game. I don't want to play Toronto in any scenario. I don't want to play him in Tampa. I don't want to play him in Toronto. I don't want to play him in Bangladesh. I don't want to play him on a sand pit. I don't want to play him anywhere. I would take my chances with Cleveland any day of the week. I don't want to see Toronto.
Yeah, that's true. Well, look, either way, the Rays have got to find some offense against Cleveland, against these pitchers, all sub-3 ERAs, I think. They've got to find some offense, and, it's just time for these guys to hit. If they don't, I don't think even our pitching staff, although Cleveland is not a big run-scoring team, it's not like but they've been playing some really good baseball. Hey, look, nobody said it was going to be easy. It's time for the Rays to step up and get some big time pitching, and the offense has to come alive. And here's the thing, Glasnow is going to start tomorrow night, but what's he going to give you? 1 or 2 innings, right? And Yarborough's now hurt, so I don't know who you're coming back with after.
Beach went on the IL too. Last week, so I think you lost another. Long relief guy there as well. Yeah.
Look, it's not a good situation for the Rays right now, but they are playing meaningful games in September. I did get a kick out of somebody sent me, maybe it was Rays fan Gio, sent something out on Twitter about, hey, can we get a camera on the Trop and for the hurricane to see if it survives or the roof blows off? And I'm like, most people are hoping for doom and gloom Maybe there's one way we can finally get out of that freaking stadium. It's just to blow it down.
Yeah, I saw that. People were like, "Oh, well, maybe if anything goes, it'll be the Trop." And then people in Orlando, on the other hand, are that big eyesore of a building. I know you know what I'm talking about on I-4. It's like right as you get past downtown Orlando. There, it's right on the right when you're going east.
Oh yeah.
That big like whatever building. I don't know what function it serves. It's just ugly. On the side, people are saying if you're going to take something, take that as well. So.
Take that as well, yeah. I mean, seriously, the roof damage, if the roof, if they have major hurricane winds and that roof and the whole catwalk gets entangled, well, they'll probably have all off season to deal with it anyway.
Haven't we seen leaks though before?
Oh yeah. Oh, the roof leaks horribly. Yes, it leaks. It's terrible. So yeah, there'll be rain inside. But if the roof and the catwalks get damaged, they'll probably have all off season to fix it, or maybe just maybe do another. Just have another idea going. I don't know. You can't build a stadium in a year, obviously. So, but whatever.
Yeah. Who knows?
All right. Before we get anything else you want to add on the Rays?
I'm just gonna point out. I mean, this is nothing groundbreaking, but real quick on the offense, they're going to go based on what Wander Franco does, based on what Randy Arozarena does. We talked a lot about Wander Franco last week, I think, and about him getting going. And he's on a 12-game hitting streak. He's hitting over 400 over that time. He's starting to drive and run. So hopefully he's hitting his stride. And, of course, Randy's been great the final 2 months, and we're getting close to October, Randy. So if we're going to go far, it's going to be on those two guys. But, again, that's not groundbreaking. We know.
And Yandy Diaz is back from getting what are we calling it now? The Randy Arozarena coming off the top rope with the Dusty Rhodes or whatever it is. His shoulder is better now, and maybe his black eye's better now as well. So he can go on the road with them.
I know that's all you're going to be observing tonight.
Yeah. Wow. What's the chemistry like? We'll see what happens with it. All right, we're brought to you, by the way, by Emerging Investigations. EmergingINV.com is the website. If you want to check them out, they are Tampa Bay's #1 private investigation agency. So if you're having any issues with your spouse, or maybe you're in a divorce situation, you're having missing persons, insurance fraud, whatever you need a private investigator for, Emerging Investigations can be there for you. So Emerging INV is their website. Go to their website, find out more about them, EmergingINV.com. We're also brought to you by the Jeeves Law Group, JEEVES lawgroup.com. If your insurance company did not pay out what you think they should have when they totaled your car, you have a case. And this is something that they do a lot. So go to JeevesLawGroup.com, find out some more information there. Give them a call. It's a free call, and they will tell you if you have a case or not. So JeevesLawGroup.com and Emerging Investigations, we thank them both. We're not going to have our normal breaks here today because we're working from home. We don't have our normal equipment, so we hope you bear with us. We'll give you some great information and have some fun. We're only going to go for an hour today, by the way, so we can all evacuate to other higher ground. TJ Rives is going to join us here at 10:15, and then also Scott Reynolds will talk some more Buccaneers. So we'll get into the Bucs. Yesterday, I was watching pregame for Monday Night Football, dreadful game that it was, the Cowboys and Giants, and I saw RG3 and Steve Young. They opened the show with Tom Brady and the 2-point play, and they kind of laid it all on him. They kind of laid it all on Brady that he should have been able to get the play off, get the play changed. Todd Bowles did speak to the controversy of the 20 seconds and the 25 seconds. Heck, I was talking with another former NFL quarterback and asking him about this, and he had no idea about the 20-second rule. In case you don't know, so there is a rule in the NFL now, and this is a little ambiguous. I will say this. So after the touchdown is confirmed, okay, the officials have the option. They have the option of doing the 20-second clock or the 25-second clock, because after any administrative thing, so if they have to stop the play clock for any reason, and they do this all the time, they can do this signal, which is to reset the clock to 25 seconds. But in this case, they set it to the 20 seconds. And, maybe that's what Brady was working off with his head. But either way, an experienced quarterback like that, you would hope that they look up and they can see that the play clock is going down. And you got to make a choice at that point. So Interesting situation, but again, if you're Tom Brady, and I asked him about this in the press conference, and he said there were a lot of execution issues. People were talking about he was calling for the snap, and Hainsey was late, so it wasn't just him. It was a whole group of things, but there was more than just that one play that cost them the ball game. So we'll talk more about that as we bring in our good friend TJ Rives, Bucs sideline guy, who was there for the whole 2-point fiasco, as it were. How are you, my friend? Hopefully you're
always
safe.
Good to be with you guys. Everybody's trying to stay safe and trying to figure out what's going on, not only with the loss to the Packers, but what's up with this Chiefs game. The Buccaneers practicing somewhere else, playing at Raymond James Stadium, playing in points beyond. We don't know. A lot of uncertainty on a Tuesday, but I'm happy to be with you and roll the sleeves up and get into all of it. How you boys doing?
We're good. I will be evacuating to Orlando right after the show here because I'm downtown Tampa, not a good place to be.
I understand. Good luck
you're
on
up in the
I-4.
Lutz area.
I'm in the Lutz area. Good luck for you on I-4. I'm in the Lutz area, so we've gotten familiar with all of this in the last day or two. We're in the evacuation E as we're doing the show, so we're not mandatory where we are. And what's interesting, full disclosure here, I'm in the Lutz area near the school complex of where McKittrick Elementary, Martinez Middle School, and Steinbrenner High School are, and all three of those schools are being used as shelters for people leaving from the west to Pinellas County into Hillsborough County and other parts of like northern Pinellas or wherever. If they're evacuating, you can come to the shelters. So the wife had to secure her room. She's a teacher. For people to come in, but then we're kicking around. Are we just going to go across the street to the shelter if need be and go hang out at the school? Which of course the twins don't want to go to school because they're supposed to be off from school. They don't want to go to school and go in the building. So I'm glad you're doing well, Nick. I don't know where you are and if you're evacuating, but hey, through technology and what we have, this is fantastic to kind of give a diversion to people. Here we all three are doing the best we can to go over everything. So good to be with you.
I'm in Fishhawk, so I'm gonna be sitting tight over here. But I got some fam over in Apollo Beach that they insist on staying, which
that's not a good idea. They should be.
You need to go evacuate them yourself.
Yeah, that's not a good idea.
My next stop.
Quick story, because I'm full of stories. So this is 1985. 1985. Nick Geddes is not on the planet. J.P. Peterson, I believe, is at Florida State. Am I correct in this time frame? All right, so 1985, Hurricane Elena, which always gets brought up by the meteorologist and by everybody, which did not even actually end up coming ashore here. It went out into the Gulf and sat about 30, 40 miles off the Gulf and pounded for 2 days with wind and storm surge and didn't even hit here, and it was a problem. Okay, so that was the Friday night of Labor Day weekend. And the Buccaneers, by the way, were playing their final preseason game that Friday night and went ahead and played it. And this leads into the story. So I had gone to a middle school party where it was one of the guys' birthdays, and we were going to spend the night at his house. And it was going to be a big night because we were going to play video games on the Atari or whatever it was in the 80s, which Nick knows nothing about, and watch Friday night videos, JP, on NBC. Remember that show? Because it had all the music videos after like David Letterman. It was going to be a big night. Well, the parents come in and go, listen, we have got to, because they were in South Tampa. They were south of McGill. They're like, we've got to evacuate. You guys are going to have to go home to your houses. So I go to my house in South Tampa, and I was joking with my father about this yesterday. And I remember we're in the living room of the house, and he had fallen asleep, and it's like close to midnight, and they still are on with the local news. They may not have ever showed Friday night videos. And I remember on Channel 10, Dick Fletcher was the weather guy. I can't remember. This is maybe before David Grant on Channel 8, who you worked with, JP. I don't know who was on Channel 8. But anyway, Dick Fletcher has the old school graphic, which is literally them showing a camera of the diagram of the Tampa Bay area with the letters marked with a crayon or a marker on where the evacuation zones are. That's their graphic in 1985. And they show that evacuation zone A is going to be evacuated at 1 a.m.
Yeah.
And that's us. And I'm looking right at it. So I wake my father up and I'm like, we're going to get mandatory evacuated. He's like, no, we're not. Go to bed. We're going to go to bed. We're going to get up in the morning and see what the storm's doing. Sure enough, we go upstairs, we cut the lights off, and like 30 minutes later at 1 a.m., they are coming through the neighborhood with the bullhorns. And Nick, I'm coming to the point with you. They're coming through the neighborhoods with the Tampa police with the bullhorns under the order of Governor Bob Martinez, who was the governor at that point. Get out now. You have 30 minutes to get out now. You need to evacuate. They're waking everybody up. So my point is, hopefully it doesn't come to that in Apollo Beach, but just give them Uncle TJ's story on a Tuesday that could be happening later today. It is going to be happening probably in Pinellas County later today and tonight, where they're going around and mandatorily telling people, get out.
Yeah, and we've had so many false alarms. This is my concern, because I think this is for real. This one is going to be very Elena-like. So we got to, if you're one of those folks that's like, oh, it never really happens, this one I would pay attention to. No question.
Yes, and we should later today and make arrangements like what you're doing and be proactive. My wife has been cooking food since last night. We got food in case there's no power. We may go feed the shelters over here near us if that's need be. All right, so enough about the hurricane stuff, which we can watch constantly on TV later today. Later tonight.
Take me down to field level for the 2 point. Well, first of all, the touchdown. Let's not sell. I mean, what a drive by Brady and as I put out on Twitter. Let's see what Brady and the island of the misfit toys can do here. In the last, I mean, you look out there, there's Kalen Geiger, Jalen Darden, and Russell Gage on a bad hamstring. I'm like, all right, well, let's see what he's got. And they move right down the field. A great throw by Brady to Russell Gage. It's pandemonium down there on the field. We got a 2-point play now that we got to run.
So the first thing is I had a little the vantage point I had was probably at about the 3-yard line, looking through the bodies. I had a little trouble seeing, did he hang on to the ball? And he did with the left hand. He hung on to the ball. They show it on the video board. He's got the ball. So I'm thinking, okay, you're good. So then what happens, and this is, I caught the tail end of what you were saying. This goes into the mechanics of everything with the review and the play clock. So they then punch the button from New York that says, we're automatically reviewing this. So that is not a review in the stadium at Raymond James Stadium or the local stadium. That is automatically New York. They push a button and notify the replay booth and the referee at the same time. We're looking at the touchdown. That is all them.
Right.
So you are correct. When they do that, and I just clarified this with an NFL game official who, before I came on the JP show, I want to be correct for the JP show audience and get all the mechanics correct. So the official says to me, here's the mechanics of what happens, and this is what happened in this case. So the play clock is now at 40, winding down while they're standing there determining, is it a review? Okay, yes, it is a review by New York, touchdown or not, just like fumble or not, interception or not. And then the rule is automatic hold at 20 seconds because it is a New York review, not 25, not being reset to start over again at 40. It's a hold at 20. All right. Another factor, which I do not believe this was the case in the Miami preseason game, but they have now done away with the play clocks up on the video boards where you can look up high and see the play clock. They're only down now at field level in the end zones right by the goalpost. So the play clocks are now down there. They're not up high anymore. Now they may be on like the ribbon video around the stadium where it's counting down by the clock. But in terms of the players on the field and what they're looking at, you're no longer looking up at the video board play clock. You're looking here right at beside the goalpost.
Right.
When I looked to the right, I saw 20 being held on the play clock. I looked at it. All right. They had discussion while the hold was going on. What's the play to my left? Leftwich and Tom Brady, they come to the huddle. I believe you're exactly right. They were discussing 2 different plays and what's the defensive look. Clearly on the replay, I'm talking to you about things that everybody could see. There's confusion coming out of the huddle on getting lined up and what defense are they in. And I think you're right with the question you asked Tom Brady. He was probably trying to check to a run play because of what they saw, and they're just out of time. He can't get everybody set. He can't get the play set up, can't get the code word uttered. And you're absolutely right. The quick clap is get me the ball. It's like you need to use that with Nick. If you got to go to break, just start doing the quick clap. That's get me the ball to Robert Hainsey, and it didn't get back there to him. So, and the bottom line is exactly what you said. I'm in complete agreement. That is on Tom Brady. On get it set up and get the ball snapped. It's on the quarterback, and you have no time out there. All right, so I have given you my full explanation of what I know and what I saw. So what else on that?
Look, it happens, and then now you've got to play from the 7-yard line, which is very, very difficult because you have a compressed area. You don't have difference makers at the receiver spot that are gonna, where you can fade a ball to Evans or a quick window throw to Julio.
And you don't have a quarterback that can take off and run it in like a Lamar Jackson, who's at the one extreme, or Josh Allen or Marcus Mariota, start naming them, that can take off and run. He's not a real threat to run it in, and the defense knows that, to your point.
Yeah, and so this is my issue, and people are like, well, Rodgers didn't have all his guys, and I'm like, this is the deal, though. The Bucs are set up to have a 45-year-old quarterback who can't run and can't get out of the way of the rush. So he has to have weapons to work with. This is how this team is built. And when he doesn't have any of those, the top 3 weapons are down, you're going to have a hard time scoring points. And you have an offensive line that is clearly in flux, is not really adept at run blocking. I thought the run, and people are bitching at Leftwich, and I'm like, man, I mean, you try calling the plays when you got young guys up front you're not really sure of. You don't have the weapons. All of your offense is predicated on having these weapons and having a standstill quarterback, and you have none of it's like trying to put together a jigsaw puzzle, and half of your pieces are missing. It ain't gonna work.
It's a good point. And Nick, you may know this more because you're into the analytics and into the numbers. I believe from everything that I've read and saw, at the 2-yard line, you obviously have right around a 50-50 shot of making a 2-point play. At the 7-yard line, my educated public school math education would be that probably goes down dramatically to like 20%. I would think 25 or 20% chance, like a 1 in 5 chance of making that from the 7. And it may even be worse than that, Nick, if you know.
It's probably worse too when you factor in who's catching the ball out there yesterday or on Sunday, because there were some people that were immediately saying, okay, you got backed up. Well, now you have more room to operate. And I just didn't see it that way because
it takes the run option out. You can't run the football out.
It takes the run option out, makes you very predictable. And with a banged up receiving corps and not really having a specialized red zone target, or at least goal line target in that game, I don't know how much of a chance you really had. So I would assume it's even less than 20%.
Yeah.
And so what they were trying to obviously do is have something of misdirection and get him over to the right where he had 2 or 3 options, including Gage coming late in the back corner of the end zone. And that's who he was trying to get the ball to, because that was right in front of me. I'm on the 2-yard line looking to the right, and Gage is trying to come clear in the right corner of the end zone. And Brady saw him, but is Cleveland the defensive back that had the great game for Green Bay? He saw it too and got his left hand on the ball. He jumped in the way and knocked the ball out of the way. I don't know if he had Brait in the flat early. I haven't seen the up high replay to be able to get him the ball, but I don't think he was close enough to the goal line if you'd have gotten him the ball anyway, where he would have gotten in. You had to have somebody down at the goal line or in the end zone. And the Packers dropped like 8 guys, JP.
Yeah, I would have liked to see a kind of a backside out the misdirection, where the tight end runs underneath and goes to the left, because there was no way you were going to make a conventional play there. I don't think you had to try some type of in the back. That play is always open. So anyway, I'm not going to bitch at Leftwich. I'm not going to bitch at the offense. This is just a situation where you're so depleted, and let's just be honest. You count on Mike Evans and Tom Brady to be leading you to victories. Mike Evans let this team down with his lack of composure. Tom Brady, in a big moment, did not perform the way you want a veteran quarterback to perform. This stuff happens, even to the best of them. It's NFL football, and I'll tell you this: 2-1. I'm looking big picture. 2-1 after this 3-game start, 2 of them on the road. You would want to get the Packers win, but you didn't, and I'm okay with it. 2-1. You come out of this 2-2, so be it. If you come out of it 3-1, you're thrilled. And
we've talked about that for like the last month.
Exactly.
If you can get to 3-1, however you got there, be happy with that. And another thing to your point, and I agree with you. And look, I work for the team. Mike knows he let the team down with what he did, and that stuff has got to stop, because look at how desperate they were, and he wasn't there not because of injury, but because of something he did. But keep this in mind for the fans that are watching. If Evans is out there, just him, without Julio Jones or Chris Godwin, that is taking a double team on every play. So now the other guys have less pressure on them to get open. And if you have some combination, and you guys know this, of Godwin or Jones with him, well, now the Russell Gages, the Cole Beasleys, the Scotty Millers, the Cameron Brates over the middle, and whomever else you want to use, Brashad Perryman, they have a much better chance to operate one-on-one and come clean because everybody's paying attention to Evans, Godwin, Evans, Jones, or Evans, Godwin, and Jones. Yeah. So that the mere presence of those guys affects everything to the positive for the Bucs and to the detriment if two of them or all of them are not there. And you saw it on Sunday. And I dare say again, you take the top three offensive weapons away from any good pass offense, you're in big trouble. No matter who's at the controls, Aaron Rodgers, Russell Wilson, name one, Josh Allen, any of these guys right now. You take the top two or three weapons away, you got problems.
And even more so when you have a standstill 45-year-old quarterback.
Yes.
It's just the way it is.
Yes.
Did you ever find out what Bowles was talking about, or people were talking about with what was on the scoreboard? Aaron Rodgers said afterwards he saw something on the Jumbotron that told him what the plays were or helped him out in some way. I know Bowles is looking.
Great mystery.
Did you find out what it is?
It's a great mystery at the moment. So there's two or three things. The first thing is obviously you don't want to be showing anything on purpose that could give anything away just generally. The next thing is Aaron Rodgers could be playing games and could be making stuff up. It's entirely possible that he saw the formation and the personnel group and he said real quick to LaFleur, this is what they're running, because he saw it. Perfect example, as Logan Ryan said to us on Buccaneers Radio after the game. The reason he got his interception, the main reason he got his interception, is they had seen watching film over and over again when the Packers were in that set, in that situation, which I believe was a third down. He loved that delayed pass over the middle. So Logan Ryan saw the set and immediately went, he's coming right here. He's coming right at me. I'm going to sit back and I'm going to jump in front of the route. So that's the same kind of thing that I think can easily, for a quarterback that's looking at things, he can tell by a formation, et cetera, what they're about to try to do. I do know this. There is a video recording of everything that they show on that video board. They have all of it. And they sit and they talk. I'm sure they sat and talked. Todd Bowles was saying that yesterday about what it was. The only thing I could think of in speculation was maybe there was a hand signal. But again, here we go back to the whole Belichick and Spygate thing about hand signals and recording them. How do the Packers really know what any of the Buccaneer hand signals mean? Now, obviously, they can stand on the other sideline and watch it without recording it. He could stand there and look across at the sideline and see that, this means a certain play, and they would know what that is without the video board. So you get into the chess match, you get into the back and forth. It may be some gamesmanship by Rodgers. It may not have been that there was really anything on the video board of substance, and he may have just been looking on the field and had seen the set. I mean, let me give you a perfect quick 30-second example. Speaking of Russell Wilson, the Patriots Spygate in the Super Bowl, they had watched that Super Bowl week over and over again, film of Seattle on the goal line running a double stack of receivers to the right, and that Russell Wilson would try to throw the slant. And as soon as the Seahawks broke for the formation and got to the line, the coaches were screaming at the defensive backs, it's a slant to the right, it's a slant to the right. And that's why Malcolm Butler very famously knew that was the play, just because they had watched film and they saw the set. As an example, huge play in a Super Bowl that New England won because of film study and knowing the set, what the Seahawks were going to do in that instance.
Wasn't that film study from the walkthrough the day before?
Maybe. I don't know. But they had run plays before in the season throwing at, and they knew.
In the walkthrough, which they taped, they were running that play in their red zone.
You made a great point. While we just digress for one more second, in the Eagles Patriots Super Bowl, and it was in Minnesota in the freezing cold. You made a great point that the the Eagles pulled out that Philly special play, the reverse, and then have Trey Burton, the former Gator, throw the ball to Nick Foles, the quarterback. And you made the point that you didn't think they had practiced that play at all Super Bowl week, that the last time they would have practiced that play was maybe in Philadelphia, to purposely Doug Peterson and Frank Reich not give New England any chance to spy on it and know what was coming. And I thought that was I remember you, brother, from like 5 or 6 years ago making that point. And I'm like, great point.
Yeah.
That maybe they're so paranoid and secretive that they didn't even practice the play that week in Minnesota for what was going to happen.
Before you go, TJ,
Yeah.
I just wanted to bring Scott Reynolds in beside you. So we have this 4-shot of
the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. It's like biblical. It's like the book of Revelation here.
What is happening, TJ? How are you?
It's always good to be with you, Brother Reynolds. And we got JP hanging. We got Nick Dennis hanging.
Yeah, this is
I'm just spewing stories. I'm spewing things about 2-point conversions and play calls.
Yep.
And then we defer to you, my friend. We defer to you for the rest.
It's like I'm on with all these old heads. My young guys aren't going to talk to me anymore. I got to get the hell out of this 4-shot.
All I know is I did think of you, Scott Reynolds, because I was in Lubbock, Texas for Texas Tech's dramatic overtime win over Texas on national radio. And then somebody's K-State Wildcats drop-kicked Oklahoma in what could be the final game in Norman ever, or at least for a long time for K-State and Oklahoma because they're moving to the SEC.
So Reynolds does not want to schedule us. They don't.
Of course not.
For whatever reason, we have their number.
On. Yeah. Reynolds has got the hat on. My question is, they did not have enough alcohol in your presence probably Saturday night or in Manhattan, Kansas, or in Lubbock, Texas, for the parties that were going on. I just want you to know, seriously, I didn't see you in the press box, Scott, on Sunday, but I was thinking of you in Lubbock. I'm like, Reynolds has got to be going crazy. I got another friend of mine that's a K-State guy. I texted him, and I mean, huge win for K-State. And so Texas and Oklahoma both get blindsided on Saturday before they leave. Yeah. We were looking for some good news. I didn't go to the game on Sunday, the Bucs game. My wife Ashley had an emergency appendectomy. So we were in the hospital. Yeah. So So we were there in the hospital watching K-State. Oh yeah, she's doing better. Yeah, it was. She caught it just in time. You know, we went to the hospital Friday night, and then Saturday had the appendix taken out, and then we went home. You know, I'm trying to tell the doctor, one of the worst things is trying to get discharged from the hospital. Right? It is it's like being at the DMV. It's like the nurse comes in the morning, like yeah, you're ready to go, and then like we didn't leave the hospital till like 4:00. The game starts at 4:25. So it just. That's the worst thing about hospitals. It's like speed up the process. It's almost like Leftwich, Brady, and Hainsey. Speed up the process. Hike the freaking ball. You know, it's not hard. On that comedic note, this is outstanding stuff. You need more with him and less with me. I bid you guys farewell. Everybody stay safe. Stay safe, my friend. See what happens with the Bucs practicing in Miami. We'll see what happens with the game. Everybody hang in there for the next couple of days. Good to be with you guys, and I'll let you wrap on with Scott.
Love you, brother.
You too.
Yeah, great segue, my friend, into what we
love that guy. Yeah,
what we've been talking. We had over 80 years of how many years you've been covering the Bucs? I'm at 25.
27 for me.
27. TJ's probably 30. So that's a lot of years of covering the Buccaneers.
I know.
And did we ever think we'd be bitching about having the GOAT as our quarterback and screwing up a 2-point play? He can't get up. If this was any other quarterback, you know, they But Steve Young and RG3 last night, first thing out of the gate on Monday Night Football pregame, they laid it at the feet of Brady, as I think it should be laid. But is what it is. You know, the thing is just one more little K-State note. Bill Snyder was notorious at Kansas State because while everybody was running the ball in the pass happy Big 12, you know, he did the Wildcat offense, right? Michael Bishop. Right. The reason why they call it the Wildcat is because of Bill Snyder. Right. That's the name because of Kansas State. Urban Meyer actually spent time in the offseason with Bill Snyder when Tim Tebow was there. And then the Tebow National Championship, they were running K-State's offense because Kansas State did that a couple years prior with Michael Bishop, who came in second in the Heisman voting to Ricky Williams. But what was so maddening and frustrating about Snyder's offense is, and especially for the home games, is he would literally have his quarterbacks snap the ball with the second left. Right. Everybody in the stadium is looking at the play clock, and literally there's a countdown: 5, 4, 3. I've never heard that in a stadium, but because we had to burn so many timeouts because they couldn't get the freaking play call in time, and they couldn't do their motions and stuff. So here's the thing: when I review this, and if you're Byron Leftwich, okay,
And because the scoreboard tells you that you need a 2-point conversion, right? You have to have that play in your mind. You have to automatically know if and when we score the touchdown, this is what we're going to do. Like, there's no debate. There's no looking at the play sheet. No, you already know that when the drive starts. If you don't know it by then, damn it, you know it by the 2-minute warning, right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so there's plenty of time for that. An experienced, good play caller also has the backup 2-point conversion play in there. Why? Because there might be a false start, right? Everyone's at the line. Everybody's amped up. So you have to have, this is the play we want to run from the 2.5, and then this is the play we want to run from the 7-yard line. Okay? Like,
right.
if you don't have the backup play for the 7-yard line, then you're a shitty offensive coordinator.
Yeah.
Seriously. Because that can happen. You're at home. Everyone's excited and amped up. You've got, 3 rookies, essentially. I mean, we're going to call Brandon Walton and Robert Hainsey rookies because this is like their first couple starts. And Luke Gedeke, right? Plus, you've got these new receivers. It's nothing but newness out there. You have to have the backup 2-point conversion play already dialed up in your mind. This is A, this is B. So when there was the delay of game, right, I didn't see that coming. A false start I could expect. Right. The delay of game I didn't see coming. But still, it's a 5-yard penalty. So you go to play B. I don't care if there's 25 seconds on the clock, 20 seconds on the clock. If the clock started with 15 seconds, it doesn't matter. You still need to get the play off. Mm-hmm. And the fact that they couldn't, it's fucking ridiculous. Sorry.
It's awful. It's awful. And the fact that they were, this is why I asked Brady that in the press conference, is like, were you checking to a running play? Because a lot of people are blaming it on Hainsey. And I'm like, listen, why are you checking to a running play with 3 seconds left on the play clock?
Right.
With a neophyte center and all these I'm sorry, if you're Tom Brady, we expect more.
Yeah. Now here's the thing. When you have Ryan Jensen as your center, the Pro Bowl Ryan Jensen that you've played with for 3 years, when he's your center, okay, 2 years, but you're on the same page.
Right.
He's reading the front, you're reading the front, and you're on the same page. You've already ironed out those kinks, winning Super Bowls, going 13-4 last year, like that hay's in the barn. So those two guys are on the same page. Brady has to know that with this rookie center, he might be waiting for Brady's call. He might be deferring to him in terms of the front and the protection that needs to be, communicated. So there's going to be a little bit of a second. If you're Brady and Jensen, you can get away with milking the clock down, because a veteran like Ryan Jensen, he's going to be looking at the play clock too. He's going to sit there. Once he looks at the front, he's going to take a peek, especially right there. I mean, it's right there at field level in the end zone. Okay. Right. And so he's going to do that, and you can get away with that little snap right before the end of that. You can't take that chance with Robert Hainsey. Exactly. You can't put that on him with 2 seconds left to come on. You can't do that. No. And it's just it was amateurish from Brady. I hate to say that, but it was.
No. It was. And I know nobody wants to call him out, and I get that, but, we have to be objective about it. And if it were any other quarterback, if it was Jameis Winston, we'd be roasting him, right?
Yeah, of course.
Him.
Yeah.
And look, the same has to be said for Brady. And I was –
listen, he's a human being.
Exactly.
He didn't think that was going to happen, right? It wasn't like that he was worried about it because he just didn't think it was going to happen, but it did. Just like in Chicago, he didn't think it was 4th down, but it was.
And he didn't cop to it until after the season.
Right,
so
right. He's human.
After the season on his podcast or something where he's
exactly
to give truthful answers. That he'll cop to it. So I was a little, and I wonder if his teammates are like, the guy asked you that twice in the press conference, and you didn't say it was on you. You he didn't
execution.
Really
we got to execute better.
Yeah. He didn't really own it. I was like,
he didn't, and I don't want to play Tom Brady's publicist or anything, but Brady's smart enough to know that if he says something to the public, it's all over Skip Bayless, Stephen A. Smith, Colin Coward, Pro Football Talk. Everyone's going to eat that up, right? So why feed your demons, right? Why feed the beasts? Right. So the thing is if Brady was going to publicly, or I shouldn't say publicly, if Brady was going to be accountable for that, that's something he'll say in the team meeting room when they're watching film. He'll say that in the locker room. And honestly, for Brady's sake and the team's sake, that's where it should be. Because it doesn't matter if he apologizes to us.
Exactly.
The apology matters to the coaches and the players. And I wouldn't put it past him. He's a great teammate.
Yeah.
I mean, Tom Brady is a great teammate. There's no arrogance about him. Matter of fact, I thought one of the most telling things about Brady wanting to come back, and it's like we always look at the man in the arena and he wants to win and he loves the game of football and there's the competitive nature of the game he just can't let go of. But he said something super telling before the start of the season. He said, there's something about being with my teammates because I can just be one of the guys.
Right.
And everywhere else, he's not one of the guys. Everywhere else, he is TB12. He is, and I think that he's going to miss that. I honestly think in hearing that, he's going to miss just being a guy that gets made fun of in the locker room or joins in on the laughs or does pranks. He's going to miss that just as much as he's going to miss the arena.
Right. No, I agree 100%. And we get used to perfection when it comes to 2-minute drills or anything like that. But the bottom line is he's still like every other quarterback. There's ultimate chaos going out there. The place is going bananas. You got all these new guys you're working with. And it wasn't solely on Brady. Because Russell Gage came out of the I think it was Russell came out of the huddle and was lined up incorrectly.
Yeah.
He had to shift him to the other side, I think.
Yeah.
So that cost you time that you have. And I don't know if Brady was working off a 25-second mental clock when he heard the whistle. Right. It was only 20 seconds. That was a rule I didn't even know.
I didn't either, yeah.
And I've talked to another ex-quarterback. He didn't know that rule either.
Right.
After administrative reviews, it's always 25 seconds. But in the case of an extra point, it's only 20. I didn't know that rule, and maybe Brady didn't either. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's a shame. I will say this. I'm not using injuries as an excuse for the lack of chemistry on offense and the awful third down conversion percentage this team's had through 3 games. It's not an excuse.
Terrible.
It's a valid reason, and I'm going to illustrate that for you right now. I'm going to tell you first who started in week 3 last year and who started in week 3 this year, and we're going to count how many different starters there are. Okay, Tom Brady, Leonard Fournette. Antonio Brown, Brashard Perriman, Chris Godwin, Russell Gage, Rob Gronkowski, Cam Brate, Tristan Wirfs, Alex Kappa, Shaq Mason, Ryan Jensen, Robert Hainsey, Ali Marpet, Luke Gedeke, Donovan Smith, Brandon Walton, Mike Evans, Scotty Miller. JP, that's 8 out of 11. 8 out of 11. Yeah. I'm sorry. It's a valid reason, right? And here's the thing. They're still 3 points away from being 3-0, despite playing really shitty on offense. Okay? So I'm just saying, it's like Donovan Smith's going to come back. Mike Evans is going to be back this week, right? Mm-hmm. Thankfully, Antonio Brown's not going to be back, but Julio Jones should be back this week, right? Yeah. Chris Godwin will be back at some point in time, right? Yeah. Those players make a difference. Yeah. Chris Godwin's a $20 million receiver for a reason. Mike Evans at $16.5 million receiver. He gets paid that for a reason. Donovan Smith, in the top 10 highest paid offensive tackles, right? For a reason. Right. So it's going to get better. It's just going to take some time to get healthy and have more talent on the field, but also more time for chemistry, right?
But do you fall into that category though? Like I think Todd even said it too. Like regardless of the talent that was out, you still should have won that game.
Yeah,
regardless
absolutely.
of what went on. And I yesterday I voiced so much frustration on Scotty Miller, not because I'm trying to pick on him. It is what it is.
Yeah.
I thought he played more than any. I think he played as many snaps as any receiver yesterday.
Yeah, he was not good. He's not good.
He had a net of what, -1 yard impact when you factor in his penalty.
He was not good, and I think that he's probably going to be replaced on this roster, right, by Cole Beasley when Beasley's actually signed to the active roster. So I agree with you completely, and that's what I'm saying. At the same time, they were 3 points away from winning this game.
Yeah.
Despite that, and I think that if they don't have those 2 fumbles, they score enough points to win. Yeah. This Bucs defense is really, really good, and as long as it stays healthy, it's going to stay really, really good. Yeah. I mean, let's talk about Logan Ryan's impact, man. Yeah. It's like this guy right here, and I don't know if you've had a lot of interaction with him so far, JP, since he's a new guy. Okay, so Logan Ryan's idol is Rondé Barber. Okay, and it's so funny because in talking with Logan Ryan, and I've talked to him several times in the locker room, I gravitate towards him like I gravitated towards Barber, just because both of those guys are just so cerebral. I mean, Rondé Barber is the smartest football player I've ever met in my life.
Agreed.
And he can talk offense, defense. He can go anywhere you want to go. Politics, entertainment, current events, world affairs. He can go anywhere. Yeah, he can go anywhere with any conversation. He's just a worldly, highly intelligent guy. And Logan Ryan is the same way. And he even sounds like Rondé Barber. I swear, JP, when you have a chance to get a one-on-one with him, the way, and you know how Rondé will say, dude. And he's got that little bit of dude.
Yeah.
Logan Ryan is the same way. It's like, I know he's not the brother. That's Tiki, but it's like their cousins. I swear
twins.
there's got to be maybe the brother from another mother. I don't know. I'm just saying. And so what did we like about Rondé Barber? Right place, right time, heady, cerebral player, coming up with clutch plays. I mean, so far we've seen that, right? I mean, the forced fumble in New Orleans, the fumble recovery, the interception. I mean, for a guy that's a part-time player, right? Because he only plays in nickel at safety because the safety and base is Winfield, right? So when he comes in, though, but man, he's an impactful player.
Yeah, and that's why I talk so much about him and Keanu Neal and these additions. These guys are playmakers. We've yet to see Keanu make a big play. Well, he did on that punt return. That didn't count. That was a freaking hit.
That was.
I know you weren't at the stadium, but that's one of those hits that you actually feel in the press box.
Yeah,
I was like, whoa.
Yeah,
but these guys are playmakers, and this defense. I mean, to hold. I don't even know if the Packers converted a third down in the second half.
Yeah,
they were. I mean, this defense against Aaron Rodgers. Now he doesn't have the greatest weapons in the world yet, but he's the thing that Aaron Rodgers did, and of course Matt LaFleur had him doing misdirections, bootlegs.
Yeah,
he can roll out. You can move him in the pocket. You can get a lot of different launch angles.
Yeah.
So you can have more in the playbook. Byron Leftwich doesn't have that in his arsenal with Tom Brady. So you're limited even more. And I agree with you. It's not an excuse. This is a reason. This whole offense is predicated on a 45-year-old quarterback being able to sit back there and use his elite weapons to get open and have that ability. That's why they're paid so much, because they create separation. They're great combat receivers. They do it all. And when you take that out of the mix, what do you got left?
No.
Not much left in the toolbox. I mean, you're looking at there, you're like, there's much left in here. What am I going to do?
And the thing is Brady completed 73% of his passes. It wasn't like he had a bad day, right? I mean, he had a good day.
Right.
So the one thing I will say, this offense is going to get better. It's going to get better as the season progresses. When they gel and they get more experience and they get healthier, it's going to get better. So I'm not concerned. 14 games left. Okay.
Right.
But what I will say is, right, if you take out Tom Brady on Sunday and you put in Blaine Gabbert, you put in Kyle Trask, we've seen some bad offenses, JP. We've seen some, haven't we? I remember a game Byron Leftwich had, I think it was against the Giants maybe in 2009, when Leftwich was the quarterback before they turned the reins over to Josh Freeman. Greg Olson was the play caller. And God, do you remember that game? I want to say they had maybe 95 yards of total offense, maybe 112, something like that. You're watching this going, I think Plant High School or Jesuit or Tampa Catholic could probably move the ball and do a little bit better, right? But we've seen some putrid offenses in Tampa throughout the years. And I hope it doesn't get putrid when Tom's gone. But because listen, whoever the next guy is going to have Chris Godwin, right?
That's right.
He's
And
Mike and Russell Gage, right? And hopefully Cade Otton develops. They were missing Cade on Sunday too. But but we're getting a glimpse of what this defense has to be in the future
to
win games.
Yeah. So as we look to the future, first of all, I mean, nobody has a crystal ball as far as this hurricane goes, but the fact that it's a Sunday night game gives you a few more minutes, a few more hours to prepare. It's all going to be how the area handles this hurricane. I mean, the stadium will be fine.
Right.
I'm worried about that. But if there's flooding, if there's extended flooding around the area and there's power outages everywhere, and you've got to have civil service to work the game. You got to have cops, you got to have security. If they're doing other things, you can't have a football game. So I think this Sunday game is a bit tenuous. What do you think?
Like you said, without the crystal ball, right? We don't know. I remember I evacuated during Hurricane Irma. I think it was Irma, right? The last time that Tampa Bay was kind of in the target zone. Yeah. We went to like Orange Beach, Alabama, or past Mobile to get out of the storm path, and we came back, and it went inland by about 45 miles, and it kind of spared Tampa, and hit further south. So. I usually, like yesterday, I wasn't really that concerned because the bullseye was right on Tampa. And just looking at the weather in my 27 years of living in this state, what the forecast is a couple of days is going to be completely different than the day, right? Yeah. So I'm looking at this now, though, and we're about a day out, and Tampa's still in the bullseye. I would love for there to be some movement one way or the other, right? This one's for real, and I don't know if we're gonna be so lucky as with Irma, but we'll have to see. I think it's fair to say that the league has to have some sort of a backup plan, and if you remember in Irma, what they did was they gave the Bucs a bye week. They moved that game later, so.
That would be better than, I don't know what Kansas City's bye week is, probably not the same, but that would be better than moving the game to Arrowhead, because that, to me, normally it's a 3-point difference, but you're 3 + 3 at home. Add Arrowhead is probably closer to 7 to 8 difference. If that's what the league does, and it's very possible that happens.
Well, I mean, here's what I would say to make it a fair game. If they're going to move it to Arrowhead, I would look at the Bucs point production and say, we're going to spot the Bucs 7 points. So it kick off at 7-0 Tampa Bay, right? And let Patrick Mahomes try to come back and do his thing. But that would only be the fair thing to do, right? If you're adding up the point spread and all that, then that should be reflected on the scoreboard. If you're going to steal a Bucs home game, not because of the Bucs' fault, but because of a natural disaster, then that seems only appropriate. But listen, the NFL never does the right thing ever with anything. So who knows?
I guess they could move it to a neutral site as well. They can play it. Since the Bucs are already in Miami. I don't know if Miami have a home game this week?
They play Thursday night, I believe. Right?
Yeah, they're on the road this week. They're on the road.
Okay. Just play in Miami. Yeah, I think that would be fine. I'm okay with that. Play it in Miami. Because I just remember when the hurricane was affecting the Saints in week 1 last year, and they played the Packers in Jacksonville, right? Right. And that was the Jameis Winston 5-touchdown day, 38-3, and everyone was digging the Packers' grave, right? And saying, Jameis, he's doesn't throw interceptions anymore, doesn't throw pick sixes anymore. He's really good quarterback. And as it turns out, the Saints were 9-8. Jameis was on IR. They didn't make the playoffs. And Aaron Rodgers, well, they went 13-3 down the stretch. And I think they rebounded from that 38-3 loss.
They did all right. All right, partner. What do you guys got going for Pewter Report this week? I'm sure your schedules is mixed up as ours.
Yeah, we're not doing any podcasts until maybe Friday, so no Pewter Report podcast. But you can still check out yesterday's podcast, which was a good one, and that's on Pewter Report TV, which is our YouTube channel. We want you to subscribe to it. We're almost around 10,000, so help us get there. And you can also visit pewterreport.com. We've got a bunch of stories up this morning, more going up this afternoon, and we're going to follow this team remotely. I'm assuming there's going to be some Zoom calls or something, I would think, with the media. Yeah. And we'll have all the coverage this week for the Bucs Chiefs game on pewterreport.com. And make sure you're following Pewter Report on social media, Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Pewter Report.
All right, my friend. Good stuff as always, Scotty. Appreciate your time. Stay safe. You and your family stay safe, and we'll catch up either later in the week.
Appreciate it, guys. Stay safe. Yep.
All right, we're gonna.
Full. I guess I just realized here. I think I booted JP out of the stream here. Let me see if I can get him back in here. But we were about to wrap up anyway, like we said. Just 1 hour today because we had to evacuate from our studios over in St. Pete. So a little bit of a makeshift show today, but definitely excited just to come on for a little bit today and at least bring y'all a little bit of a distraction from what's going on. I'll see if I can get JP back in here. There you are.
Yes. Sorry, I got lost in the shuffle there.
I booted you instead of Scott by accident.
Well, look, we'll try to keep doing podcasts for you guys. So just follow us on Twitter. Follow the show on Twitter. We'll let you know when we're going to do our shows. We'll hopefully have one for you tomorrow. Keep you updated on everything that's going on. Depends on our power situation, Nick's power situation. I'll be headed to Orlando. Nick, you'll be hunkered down in Fishhawk. Hey, we want to thank all of our advertisers, Italiano Insurance. You're going to need them this week, right? We've been telling you all along, if you don't have flood insurance, that you got to get it. But listen, you still have time to call them. 813-877-7799, just to make sure that all your insurance is up to date. So if you have any questions about that, give them a call. They'll be happy to help you out. AMS Mortgage, Scotty Fitz. If you guys are in the market for a refinance right now, I know mortgage rates are going crazy. They do have some really interesting programs. They have a new government program we've been telling you about that you can get rates well below the 6s that are out there right now, and it's only in certain addresses in certain areas. But AMS Mortgage Tampa is one of the few that have this program. It's a government program, so you got to check out what address you're either buying or where you live, and you might be eligible to get that refinance or new mortgage for AMS Tampa. Emerging Investigations, appreciate you guys as well. EmergingINV.com. The great folks at the Golden Diamond Source, Julie and Steve last week when Brian Bradley gave us $5,000 check to Hands Across the Bay. Such great folks out there, always doing great work in the community. So we say keep it local. If you want to, guys out there, if you're looking for that ring or looking for a watch, it's the Golden Diamond Source. So Jeeves Law Group, BAMMC, Chris Lugo and your group, Bay Area Modern Medical Center. Thank you guys so much for your help as well. If you guys are looking to lose weight or just get healthy, BAMMC.com. Did I miss anybody? I think
you got them all there. You covered all of them.
So thank you guys, all of our sponsors. We'll be back tomorrow, same time, hopefully, Lord willing, and the creek don't rise. And the hurricane doesn't blow us off the map. We'll be here. Thanks, guys. We'll see you.